As Chancellor of the University, I declare this congregation open for the conferring of degrees by the authority of the Senate and the Council.
Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Chairman of the County Council, parents, relatives, friends and graduands, as Vice-Chancellor, I am delighted to welcome you all to this degree congregation. It is a celebration for all those who graduate today. We celebrate your many achievements that culminate in a degree from a major international research and teaching-led university. While you have been with us, the university has developed and changed. We are now a community of 19,500 students and just over 3,000 staff with a turnover of £158 million. It all demonstrates that universities are complex organisations. We engage in a range of activities. First, the development of our campus to support high-quality research, high-quality teaching, and a high-quality student experience. This year, we completed our mathematical modelling and space science building, which we will officially open and name after our Chancellor this autumn. We have refurbished laboratories for chemistry and archaeology. We will take over a £20 million biomedical building at the end of this summer. Secondly, we have started a systematic fundraising campaign with 3 landmark projects. First, a world-class library for which we have already raised £16 million against a target of £25 million. Secondly, a cardiovascular research institute for which we have raised all but £2 million on a £20 million project. And thirdly, we are seeking funding for a range of new academic positions, as in my view, staff are the key to a high-quality university. If you can help us, or know someone who can, please do not hesitate to talk to me at the end of this ceremony. Thirdly, we continue to develop high-quality research. In the Faculty of Law, major work continues on social security and child support, activities central to the national policy-making process. In education, research and development activity takes place in the Regional Science Centre, awarded to this university together with Bishop Grosseteste College in Lincoln and the University of Nottingham. These are just a small number of examples of our work in many fields of research that we could discuss today. Fourthly, we engage in innovative teaching. And I am delighted to be able to tell you that Dr. Derek Rain in our Department of Physics is the first member of staff in this university to be awarded a National Teaching Fellowship against a highly competitive field. We have also gone forward in awarding our own teaching fellowships across the university to those who deliver innovative teaching to our students. And I'm pleased to say that later in this degree ceremony, 3 members of staff will be presented as teaching fellows of the university, thus emphasising the importance of teaching to the university and indeed the way in which teaching and research locks together in a very important way. Fifthly, there is our contribution to the community through cultural activities, and this is demonstrated in many ways. First, our work with schools, teachers, pupils and parents in the inner city, with a view to broadening access into higher education in this university and in others. But most importantly is the work that our student organisation called Contact does on a voluntary basis in Leicester and Leicestershire. This year, 540 students have helped pupils to read, have organised events for disabled school pupils, and holidays for children who would otherwise not get one. Those pupils will never forget the voluntary assistance provided by you. It empowers them, it changes their lives. We, as a university, are very proud of the voluntary support that our student body has given this year and continues to give across the years. Another dimension to our outreach work is work featured in our botanic garden. This year, we are staging our third international sculpture exhibition. The exhibition runs until mid-September, and I hope that while you are here with us this week, you will take the opportunity to visit it. In any organisation, change is inevitable, but we need to build on activities where we are excellent. In the university, it will mean using our expertise in research and teaching in several ways. First, by establishing strategic alliances with higher and further education. We already have a successful network of 24 institutions in a Colleges University of Leicester network, and in turn, we have developed a special partnership with Bishop Grosseteste College in Lincoln and Newman College in Birmingham, whose courses we validate and with whom we work. Last Friday, we held our first graduation ceremonies in Lincoln Cathedral, where 256 students from Bishop Grosseteste College were not only awarded their degrees, but also qualified teacher status. This means that given the students who train as teachers in this university, together with their counterparts in Bishop Grosseteste and Newman Colleges, over 800 new teachers will join this country's teaching force with University of Leicester degrees. I think it is a terrific achievement and indeed will have great potential in terms of the indirect impact that this university has upon the schooling process. I also feel we have great opportunities to develop our work in professional education, whether that is in law, in medicine, in social work, alongside teacher training. For example, we are developing our work in medical education and medical research with the University of Warwick, where the first students to graduate in medicine were graduating on Monday of this week. Finally, I think we need to look to the future in terms of how we can continue to develop higher education in a dynamic way. Already in this university, we have a large input into distance education, and I feel that we can build upon distance learning and online learning with our newly appointed Professor of e-learning. 6,000 students study with us by distance learning, so if by any chance parents and friends feel they only wished that they were graduating this morning, well, here's an opportunity. If you wish to talk to any University of Leicester staff at the end of this ceremony, we can sign you up for a distance learning degree immediately, and you can be on your way to a degree ceremony in the Montfort Hall. I could quote many examples of the work of this university and the way we could develop it. The list is endless in a dynamic university such as ours, and I hope that our graduates will be very proud of their university and watch the way in which we develop over the years. Finally, I would like to congratulate you all on the degrees you have obtained. We hope you will keep in touch with the university, and I shall look forward to seeing you at alumni events. But before I close, I would like you to join me in showing your appreciation to your parents, relatives, friends and sponsors who have supported you through the university. So I would now ask the graduating class of 2004 to join me in a round of applause for those people. Terrific. I'm sure you can keep that going throughout the ceremony. Have a really enjoyable day with us. Applaud your fellow students, and all good wishes to you in your future careers.
I think that I may fairly assume that very few people in the body of this hall know the name of Bob Collins. Yet, for almost 20 years, the smooth running of the official life of the County of Leicester has depended on his expertise and efficiency. He is one of those whom the novelist Nigel Balkin christened the backroom boys, the unsung experts who keep complex organisations operational. 3 successive Lords Lieutenant have relied on Bob Collins to organise and run the many formal occasions, from royal visits to presentations to local associations, that ornament the civic life of Leicestershire. And for those of you who are not familiar with English official life, the Lord Lieutenant is the Queen's representative in the county. The current Lord Lieutenant of Leicestershire is Lady Gretton, who is sitting there in the pink. Unfortunately, Lady Lords Lieutenant do not have uniforms. Next to her is the High Sheriff of Leicestershire in the green uniform, Mrs. Hussain. Both know full well how much the county owes to Bob Collins. Bob Collins was born in Smethwick in 1943 and spent almost his entire working life in local government. Indeed, although he is now officially retired, he is still frequently called on for help and advice. He began in the West Midlands in the 1960s, serving in a number of town clerks' departments before becoming a registrar of births, deaths and marriages, and then a superintendent registrar of Birmingham. His view of public service has always emphasised the importance of direct contact with people as individuals. This perception served him well when, after duty with a number of city and regional committees, he became secretary to the Lord Mayor of Birmingham in 1979. In 1980, he took charge of a secretariat providing services to the chairman of the West Midlands County Council and the Lord Lieutenant of the West Midlands. In this post, his superb skills in organisation ensured the smooth running of many official functions. In 1986, Bob Collins joined Leicestershire County Council and the Leicestershire Lieutenancy. In this post, he was responsible for the planning and smooth running of almost all the official events in the county. Now, if we lived in Ruritania, his title would be something like Grand Chamberlain or Major Domo of the Palace. In Leicestershire, he was called Principal Assistant County Clerk. He served 17 chairmen of the Leicestershire County Council, all of whom have spoken of him with admiration, gratitude and respect. He also served 3 successive Lords Lieutenant, starting with Colonel Sir Andrew Martin. He served Sir Timothy Brooks for the entire 14 years of his lieutenancy and was still in post to guide Lady Gretton on her appointment in 2003. During this time, he was responsible for the organisation of nearly 100 royal visits, including the highly successful Jubilee visit of the Queen and Prince Philip to Leicester and the National Space Centre in 2002. Her Majesty the Queen acknowledged his exceptional service over many years by his appointment as a member of the Royal Victorian Order in the Millennium Year. This order is awarded at the personal discretion of the Sovereign, and it is highly unusual for it to be awarded to a local government official. His arrangements have also been highly valued by the police, with whom he has had to liaise on security, and also by the representatives of the communities of Leicester and the county. His advice on matters of protocol and diplomacy has been eagerly sought by those with lesser experience, and this advice has always been freely given. Bob Collins has been directly responsible for the reputation Leicestershire has as a model for the organisation of civic life. Now, a writer older than Nigel Balkin also realised the importance of the unsung expert. With great things charged, he shall not hold aloof till great occasion rise, but serve full harnessed as of old the days that are the destinies. That was Kipling. He did write exceedingly good poems. Bob Collins never held aloof. He was always enormously supportive, efficient and helpful to his Lord's Lieutenant and Chairman of the County Council. He was noted for carrying out his tasks with dedication and unfailing courtesy. He was never too proud to learn, and having learnt, equally determined that his vast store of specialist knowledge was passed on to his successors, so that a seamless continuity of public service was maintained. Bob Collins has given much unsung service to Leicestershire. Today, we bring him into the limelight to honour him for it. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and of the Council, I present Robert Bruce Collins, that you may confer on him the Honorary Degree of Master of Laws.
I admit you the degree of Master of Laws. We welcome you, Thank you very much.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, my Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, ladies and gentlemen. During my career, I've had something of a reputation for avoiding praise for my work. A big mistake. It was quite late that I learnt that the more you deny something, the more people believe what was originally said. So today, having totally failed in avoiding attention, I gratefully accept this honorary degree. And embarrassing though it is, I do not seek to deny what has been said about me. But please don't quote me on that. There's no doubt that this is a great honour for me. And I hope it reflects on the public service generally and local government in particular, which I feel I represent here today. I must take this opportunity to publicly thank everyone, and there are some here today, who over the years have given me so much help and support, including the holders of high office, who I've had the privilege of working with and who have shown me such kindness. Besides my day-to-day administrative work, I've been involved in many, many visits, royal and otherwise, ceremonies, presentations, and so forth. I am sorry if this may disappoint someone, but I have never tired of these events. Most have been interesting and informative, and more importantly, all have given me an opportunity to see the tremendous work done by the people of this city and county. From the manufacturing industries to the voluntary sector and everything else in between, Leicester and Leicestershire has much to be proud of. To have witnessed so much ability and commitment has made my life as a public servant a very fortunate one. You'll be pleased to know that it hasn't all been watching others work. I have had plenty to do. I've always followed the Churchill maxim, enjoy what you do rather than do what you enjoy. I heartily recommend that to you. The public, quite rightly, demand high standards of public servants. This puts a heavy responsibility on us and our political masters, but it can, as I have found, bring great satisfaction too. And so I end with grateful thanks to this fine institution, this outstanding University of Leicester. And may I tender congratulations and every good wish for the future to all who graduate today. A day which you, like me, will never forget. Thank you for your attention.
The graduands in the Faculty of Law will be presented by the Dean, Professor Clarkson. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of Law to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of Law, by the authority of the Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Master of Laws in European Union Law Commercial, Angela Baldwin.
Congratulations, well done.
Mark Dundee.
Congratulations.
Michael Gadju.
Congratulations, well done.
Barry Gilbert Miguel.
Congratulations.
Paulina Crasia.
Congratulations.
John Osai Bonsu.
Congratulations.
Bjorn Reinhardt.
Congratulations.
Bernhard Schmeitzel.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in European Union Law Employment, Linda Hubscher.
Congratulations.
Ian Spiteri Bailey.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in Human Rights, Catherine Morrison.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in Law and Employment Relations, George Appiah.
Congratulations.
Evelyn Blake.
Congratulations.
Barbara Butterworth.
Congratulations.
Michael Cummins.
Congratulations.
Mark Leach.
Congratulations.
Zoe McKenty.
Congratulations.
Edward Morgan.
Congratulations.
Samantha Pullen.
Congratulations.
Harshaban Purohit.
Congratulations.
Patricia Simpson.
Congratulations.
Samuel Wakeman.
Congratulations.
Jonathan Wall.
Congratulations.
Simon Ward.
Congratulations.
Tony Wilkinson.
Congratulations.
Eleanor Williams.
Congratulations. Very well done.
For the degree of Master of Laws in Social Welfare Law, Philip Barber.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Arts in European Union Law Commercial, Martin Fox.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Arts in European Union Law Employment, Michael Ashbrook.
Congratulations.
Tirath Crossley.
Congratulations.
Cara Pieti.
Congratulations.
Donald Roberts.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Arts in Law and Employment Relations, Tracy Billingham.
Congratulations. Well done.
Virginia Brenny.
Congratulations.
Sally Chipperfield.
Congratulations.
Barbara Coward.
Congratulations.
Maria Di Sapia,
Congratulations.
Jane Gooch,
Congratulations.
Anne Helsby,
Congratulations.
Stephen Holt,
Congratulations.
Cleon Hutton,
Congratulations.
Jacqueline Jones,
Congratulations.
Alexander Kirk,
Congratulations.
Stephen Maguire,
Congratulations.
Brian MacArthur,
Congratulations.
Neve Murphy,
Congratulations.
Felix Paquette,
Congratulations.
Hannah Parker,
Congratulations.
Rajvinda Sarai,
Congratulations.
Natasha Sherwin,
Congratulations.
Angela Wright.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Arts in Social Welfare Law, Patrick Clark,
Congratulations. Nice job there.
Claire Malpass,
Congratulations.
Jean Welch.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Michael Acker,
Congratulations.
Gordon Ackers,
Congratulations.
Robbie Adair,
Congratulations.
Adisolo Adijumo,
Congratulations.
Remy Ahibwa,
Congratulations.
Ibra Ahmed,
Congratulations.
James Alga,
Congratulations.
Nazneen Ali,
Congratulations.
Afifa Aljaru,
Congratulations.
Thomas Allen,
Congratulations.
Hannah El Shagana,
Congratulations.
Adoronki Are,
Congratulations.
Sandeep Athwell,
Congratulations.
winner of the Morgan Cole Land Law Prize, Sakwinda Atwell,
Oh, congratulations on your prize. Congratulations.
Navdeep Badwell,
Congratulations.
Parmandeep Baines,
Congratulations.
James Ballardy,
Oh. Congratulations. Very well done. That's good.
Natalie Barham,
Congratulations.
Alexander Barley,
Congratulations.
Sam Barnett,
Congratulations.
Anna Batstone,
Congratulations.
Catherine Beach,
Congratulations.
Katie Beck,
Congratulations.
Nicholas Bell,
Congratulations.
Aliyah Batu,
Congratulations.
Stephanie Boyce,
Congratulations.
James Brabs,
Congratulations.
Colin Brody,
Congratulations.
Mark Broomfield,
Congratulations.
Adam Brown,
Congratulations.
Lindsay Brown,
Congratulations.
Samantha Brown,
Congratulations.
Rebecca Butler,
Congratulations.
Gloria Boach,
Congratulations.
Fareed Kamar,
Congratulations.
Samantha Carmichael,
Congratulations.
Victoria Chadwick,
Congratulations.
Adil Chamberlain,
Congratulations.
Mark Chatley,
Congratulations.
Rosa Chow,
Congratulations.
Jaimini Chauhan,
Well done.
Raki Shavda,
Congratulations.
Gemma Chivers,
Congratulations.
Kaljit Chauhan,
Congratulations.
Maria Christodoulou,
Congratulations.
Jevon Clayton,
Congratulations.
Kevin Crosdale,
Congratulations.
Charlotte Crush,
Congratulations.
Mitesh Damji,
Congratulations.
Marianne Damtsas,
Congratulations.
Nicholas Dancer,
Congratulations.
Hannah Davies,
Congratulations.
Chaitali Desai,
Congratulations.
Elizabeth Dodds,
Congratulations.
Shenaz Doma,
Congratulations. Well done.
Lee Eckersley,
Congratulations.
Matthew Edwards,
Congratulations.
Vivian Yo,
Congratulations.
Rachel Eli,
Well done.
Rachel Ellaby,
Congratulations.
Eleni Elena,
Congratulations.
Andrew M,
Well done.
winner of the Faculty of Law Prize, Daniel Evans,
Congratulations. Well done. Well tied.
Julia Fairbanks,
Congratulations.
Matthew Fanning,
Congratulations.
Cara Field,
Congratulations.
James Franey,
Congratulations.
Ketan Gami,
Congratulations.
Victoria Gaskell,
Congratulations.
Lauren G,
Congratulations.
Selena Griffiths,
Congratulations.
Lisa Hall,
Congratulations.
Aquil Hannah,
Congratulations.
Tiffany Hardy,
Congratulations.
Antonia Harding,
Congratulations.
winner of the Morgan Cole Company Law Prize, Andrew Haslam,
Oh, congratulations on your prize too. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Ruth Hasling,
Congratulations.
Laura Hawksworth,
Congratulations.
Indrani Hazra,
Congratulations.
Anthony Hernandez,
Congratulations.
Dale Hilton,
Congratulations.
Claire Honey,
Congratulations.
John Hopper,
Congratulations.
Natasha Hoke,
Congratulations.
Christopher Hurian,
Congratulations.
Lisa Howard,
Congratulations.
Rebecca Howe,
Congratulations.
Thomas Hughes,
Congratulations.
Samina Hussain,
Well done.
Claire J,
Congratulations.
Mark Johnson,
Congratulations.
Carla Jones,
Well done.
Sandeep Keller,
Congratulations.
James Kassouf,
Congratulations.
Viral Kataria,
Congratulations.
Gemma Kelsey,
Congratulations.
Una Keneally,
Congratulations.
Farath Karth,
Congratulations.
Glenn Comby,
Congratulations.
Konstantinos Kourides,
Congratulations.
Bhavin Ladva,
Congratulations.
Valerie Lai,
Congratulations.
Marina Lavithia,
Congratulations.
Hayley Lewis,
Congratulations.
Sarah Linthwaite,
Congratulations.
Georgina Lomax,
Congratulations.
Carla Liner,
Congratulations.
Louise Lyons,
Congratulations.
Michelle Magnuson,
Congratulations.
Vishal Makwana,
Congratulations.
Victoria Marriott,
Congratulations.
Hugo Matcham,
Congratulations.
Michael McClure,
Congratulations.
Christopher McGowan,
Congratulations.
winner of the Harvey Ingram Austin Law of Tort Prize and the Evershed Commercial Law Prize and the Department of Law Prize, Victoria McLaughlin.
Well, thank you very much. You take everything in the order. Well done. Well done. Congratulations.
Winner of the Freshfields Bruckhouse Derringer Mooting Prize, Rebecca Merrill.
Congratulations. Congratulations on your private work. Okay.
Hassan Mirza,
Congratulations.
Haley Merville,
Congratulations.
Matthew Montgomery,
Congratulations.
Samantha Morley,
Congratulations.
Bradley Morris,
Congratulations.
Adam Mawson.
Congratulations.
Professor Sir William Taylor is a colossus in the world of education. Over a career ranging from school teacher to vice-chancellor, he has played a huge part in shaping the educational landscape that we know today in the UK. Bill Taylor grew up in Erith, and his initial progress in the educational system did not reveal obvious signs of greatness to come. Unsuccessful in the selection for grammar school at 11, he entered a technical school, destined for a career as a bricklayer. He remembers well the long afternoons of laying brick walls, which then had to be dismantled, ready to reuse the materials in the following day's classes. Fate intervened, however, when he heard of a new organisation using psychometric tests to judge suitability for careers. He paid his modest fee, and back came the result. He was suited not for the construction of brick walls, but ideas. His future lay in academia. On the strength of these results, and not a little persuasion applied to the Chief Education Officer, he transferred to another school and progressed through to university entrance at the London School of Economics. Here he realised the excitement of scholarship, learning the meaning of intellectual endeavour and tolerance, and the importance of self-motivation and organisation. He began to apply an approach that has guided the rest of his life. Knowledge takes away fear. Understand, and you will cope. Remain ignorant, and the demons will taunt you forever. Deciding on a career in education, he took a postgraduate certificate in education and entered the challenging world of a secondary modern school in Kent. He then spent a while teaching in primary school, but was drawn back into secondary education to become deputy head of a new secondary modern school at a very young age. Here he discovered a talent for management that has since proved invaluable. His love of the intellectual had not subsided, however. He retained an association with university life, studying for his master's degree and teaching adults regularly through classes organised with the WEA. Soon the opportunity came to move into teacher education as a lecturer at St Luke's College in Exeter. Here he applied his experience and knowledge to the preparation of new teachers, many of whom were army officers retraining after their service careers had ended. During this time, he also completed his PhD in the sociology of education and set himself firmly on a university academic career. He began to recognize that elusive quality of a great leader, whether in the classroom or the Vice-Chancellor's office, the ability to understand and be acutely sensitive to the organization with which they work. He recalls the great teachers who know instinctively how a class will react and how to work with rather than against the grain of their social structures, feelings and tensions in order to create an atmosphere in which all will learn and progress. It wasn't long before the opportunity came to move to Durham, where he spent happy years at Bede College developing further his academic credentials. A short spell at Oxford was the springboard to the headship of the Department of Education at Bristol at the tender age of 36. Here he learnt the nefarious skills of university politics as he struggled with the complexities of an institute of education with multiple colleges, and he established firmly his reputation as both a scholar and an academic manager. Now firmly recognized as a star, he landed a plum job in education, Director of the Institute of Education at the University of London, a post which he held for many years and where he still has an office to this day. On arrival, he applied his philosophy of working with the organization. He identified and played to its strengths by listening to the full variety of able people on the staff and making judicious appointments to strengthen the team in a sensitive way. The reputation of both the institution and Bill Taylor himself rose steadily, and he played a major part in the national scene, contributing to innumerable committees and influencing decisions which have shaped educational policy for a generation. The list of his contributions makes up one of the longest entries in Who's Who. Inevitably, more senior positions beckoned. After a short spell as principal of the University of London, he became Vice-Chancellor at the University of Hull. He held the post for 6 turbulent years as he steered the organisation successfully through some difficult and challenging times. He received the CBE in 1982 and was knighted in 1990. Earning a reputation as a troubleshooter, he found himself parachuted into organisations running into difficulties, including one high-profile, spectacular failure needing a safe and experienced pair of hands to help them out of the morass. He continues this day to play major roles, including specialist advisor to the Department for Education and Skills and chairing the university's UK review of higher education funding. For a man who claims not to approve of the concept of leadership, Sir William is undoubtedly a great leader, both of thinking in his field and the organisations he's worked in. He has made a lasting contribution that will have influence for many years to come. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and the Council, I present to you William Taylor, that you may confer upon him the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, distinguished civic guests, fellow graduates, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. It's said that on these occasions someone in my position should stand up to be seen, speak up to be heard, and sit down quickly to be appreciated. The first two of these imperatives I've already met. Much to your pleasure, I intend to meet the third as quickly as possible. But before I do so, may I express sincere thanks, Chancellor and other members of the university, for making me a member of your community. When I asked what I should talk about on this occasion, I was told about 3 minutes. I'll try. 200 years ago, nearly, Jane Austen, through the persona of Anne Elliot, the heroine, if that's the right word, of her novel Persuasion, wrote of the art of knowing our own nothingness beyond our own circle. For most people, 200 years ago, those circles were very small. I doubt if my own grandmother, born in the middle of the American War between the states in 1863, ever met anyone from beyond her own village, let alone from other countries or who spoke different languages. But how the world has changed. Our own circle, as Jane Austen described it, has expanded to embrace people from all over the world, every continent, every background, every linguistic group. Our own circle has become a wealth of interlocking circles, and as a consequence, you and I have opportunities to reduce what Jane Austen called our own nothingness, to embrace and rejoice in the richness and diversity of the world as we can today experience it. To enjoy this diversity does not require that we abandon the comforts and closeness of our own circles. We must learn, because sadly it doesn't come naturally, to live with multiple rather than exclusive identities. To be at one and the same time, for example, a loyal Glaswegian, a good Scot, a British citizen, a genuine European, and even a citizen of the world. Few places do more to help us to develop these multiple identities than universities. From their earliest days, universities have been international institutions, and today, look around you, they are more so than ever before. These gowns, this ceremony, this procedure reminds us all of our indebtedness to our history. It takes us back to the beginnings of the institutions of which we are now part. And we all need a sense of history. Some years ago, a string quartet came to play at the university in which I was then working. And the cellist told me that just a little earlier he'd been playing in a primary school. And a little child had come up to him and said, "That's a lovely cello you've got there. How old is it?" He said, "It's 300 years old." And she said, "Cool, have you had it all that time?" And she was slightly disturbed when he said, "No, but I had another one before this." When I started studying, to join a little bit of personal history, in a university in 1949, I was one of only a tiny percentage of the population able to do so. Now, 50% of the population will have the opportunity of some contact with teaching and learning in a higher education institution before the age of 30. And more does not mean worse. It means different. Of course it means different. But, you know, in this country, we are very often guilty of a kind of nostalgia that does us no good at all. I was in Australia not long ago, and at a country fair there were 2 stalls selling the famous Australian pies, floaters and so on. And one of them had a sign up outside saying, "Pies as your mother used to make them, $3.50. And the store next door had a vaguely similar sign, pies as your mother thought she used to make them, $5. Nostalgia has its risks. Your experience of university, and mine, has enabled us, consciously or unconsciously, to greatly expand the circles, to use Jane Austen's word, in which we can claim membership as teachers, lawyers, engineers, scientists, and members of all those other communities in which graduates of the University of Leicester participate. Your circle has today expanded to include the fellowship of Leicester graduates who are living and working on every continent of our increasingly interdependent world. What Jane Austen called our essential nothingness has retreated in the face of an important somethingness. We, you and I together, are graduates of the University of Leicester. I'm proud to be so, and I'm sure you are too.
The remaining graduands in the Faculty of Law will now be presented by the Dean, Professor Clarkson.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Alexia Muskow.
Congratulations.
Irene Muskow.
Congratulations.
Ghazala Mumtaz.
Congratulations.
Lois Musikali.
Congratulations.
Peter Noble.
Congratulations.
Abdul Hafized Nurani.
Congratulations.
Kate Novakovic.
Congratulations.
Jennifer O'Driscoll.
Congratulations.
David O'Dwyer.
Congratulations.
Samantha Openshaw.
Congratulations.
John Oxley.
Congratulations.
Laura Panther.
Congratulations.
Konstantina Papadamou.
Congratulations.
Catherine Parks.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Richard Parsons.
Congratulations.
Abdusattar Patel.
Congratulations.
Bansari Patel.
Congratulations.
Deepal Patel.
Congratulations.
Chris Patel.
Congratulations.
Shilpa Pawar.
Congratulations.
Nicholas Payne.
Congratulations.
Victoria Peregrine.
Congratulations.
Teresa Pollard.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Nigel Pomfret.
Congratulations.
Zoe Pratton.
Congratulations.
Claire Prentice.
Congratulations.
Brenda Pretorius.
Congratulations.
Hayley Purves.
Congratulations.
Rachel Pye.
Congratulations.
Zilur Rahman.
Congratulations.
Trisha Ramdu.
Congratulations.
Timothy Richards.
Congratulations.
Rachel Robertson.
Congratulations.
Justin Robson.
Congratulations.
Catherine Rodberg.
Congratulations.
Anna Russell.
Congratulations.
Halima Sadiq.
Congratulations.
Jatinda Sahunta.
Congratulations.
Kelly Samuels.
Congratulations.
Zoe Scarce.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mark Scotney.
Congratulations.
Wesley Selkridge.
Congratulations.
Joanne Shafiq,
Congratulations.
Shervin Shameli,
Congratulations.
David Shell,
Congratulations.
Demetrius Shuftas,
Congratulations.
Jasprit Sahota,
Congratulations.
Purdeep Sahota,
Congratulations.
Roger C,
Congratulations.
Claire Sillery,
Congratulations.
Jasprit Singh Hare,
Congratulations.
winner of the Paul Heim Prize, Anisha Sinha,
Congratulations and well done on your prize. Congratulations.
Amandeep Soand,
Congratulations.
winner of the Clyde & Co. Prize in Competition Law, Claire Spivey,
Congratulations and well done on your prize.
Craig Staton Spencer,
Congratulations.
Lucy Stewart,
Congratulations.
Edward Story,
Congratulations.
Bonner Stiles,
Congratulations.
Ranjit Saul,
Congratulations.
Matthew Sully,
Congratulations.
Danielle Sutton,
Congratulations.
Joanna Sutton,
Congratulations.
Sabina Tariq,
Congratulations.
Angela Taylor,
Congratulations.
Matthew Ty,
Congratulations.
Kimberly Tso,
Congratulations.
Benson Soy,
Congratulations.
winner of the Freshfields Bruckhouse Derringer Mooting Prize and the Peter Kavanagh Trophy, James Tunley.
Congratulations and well done on your prizes.
Rena Ubi,
Congratulations.
Leah Valenza,
Congratulations.
winner of the Evershed Commercial Law Prize, James Vernon.
Congratulations and well done on your prize.
Manohar Waliwala,
Congratulations.
Kalambia Walia,
Congratulations.
Nicola Walker,
Congratulations.
Suzanne Walker,
Congratulations.
David Wall,
Congratulations.
Jessica Whitbread,
Congratulations.
Rachel Williamson,
Congratulations.
Paul Woffenden,
Congratulations. Very well done. Well done.
Anne Wong,
Congratulations. Well done.
winner of the May Fund Prize, Lee Chin Wong,
Congratulations and well done on your prize.
Nikki Xenofontos,
Congratulations.
Joseph Zand,
Congratulations.
Bing Zhang,
Congratulations.
for the degree of Bachelor of Laws, European Union, Tony Brown,
Congratulations.
winner of the Claire Nicholson Memorial Prize, Shabnam Karim,
Congratulations and well done on your prize.
Catherine Mitchell,
Congratulations. Thank you.
for the degree of Bachelor of Laws, International, Lucy Mott,
Congratulations. Thank you.
Sarah Murray,
Congratulations.
Rebecca
Well
Roberts,
done. Congratulations.
Nicole Topham,
Congratulations.
Katie Webb,
Congratulations.
for the degree of Bachelor of Laws in Law with French Law and Language, Lindsay Batt,
Congratulations.
Winner of the Morgan Cole Land Law Prize, the Blackstone Prize, the Stanley and Hooper Travelling Scholarship, and the Leicestershire Law Society Prize, Laura Brearley.
Congratulations. It's very good. Well done on your answers. Well done.
Paul Clark.
Congratulations.
Stephen Davis.
Congratulations.
Martha Davison.
Congratulations.
Thomas Glinker.
Congratulations.
Julia Height.
Congratulations.
Laura Hendry.
Congratulations.
Samantha Hill.
Congratulations.
Rhiannoth Lloyd.
Congratulations.
Stephen McClellan.
Congratulations.
Winner of the Freeth Cartwright Law with French Prize, Naomi Milner.
Congratulations and well done on your prize.
Carly Mitchell.
Congratulations. Well done.
Sam Myers.
Congratulations.
Gillian Roche Sanders.
Congratulations.
Stuart Smith.
Congratulations.
Andrew Stewartson.
Congratulations.
Francis Guitong.
Congratulations.
Kingsley Obeng.
Congratulations.
Jinesh Patel.
Congratulations.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
The graduands in the Faculty of Education and Continuing Studies will be presented by the Dean, Professor Fogelman. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of Education and Continuing Studies to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of Education and Continuing Studies, by the authority of the Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Julia Borenstein.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations. Well done.
Barbara Bazard.
I admit you to the degree of Philosophy. Well done.
Judith Eldor.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Ruth Gilley.
I admit you to the degree of philosophy. Congratulations.
For the degree of Doctor of Education, Oslem Kazlioglu.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Education. Congratulations.
Shirley Lee.
I admit you to the thank you. I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Education. Congratulations.
Leonard O'Connor.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Education. Congratulations.
Lucy Sue.
Thank you. I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Education. Congratulations. Thank you.
Yoncha Tiknaz.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Education. Congratulations. Done.
Kai Chu Yao.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Education. Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics and the Teaching of English to Speakers of Other Languages, Emma Bruce.
Congratulations.
Rachel Duncan.
Congratulations.
Jonathan Hadley.
Congratulations.
Jenny Hartley.
Congratulations.
Eleni Stogionari.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Arts in Professional Studies and Education, Janet Bird.
Congratulations. Well done.
Marlene Branach.
Congratulations. Well done.
Faiza Idrus.
Congratulations.
George Marshall.
Congratulations. Well done.
Seluamani Palyanandi.
Congratulations.
Lucina Vernon.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Education Management, Uchenna Amadi Uhunwo.
Congratulations. Well done.
Colette Anderson.
Congratulations.
Paula Anderson.
Congratulations.
Carol Blackmore.
Congratulations. Fine.
Stephen Booth.
Congratulations. Well done.
Nigel Duncan.
Congratulations.
Rosaline Yu.
Congratulations. Well done.
Judith Goodacre.
Congratulations.
Neil Hammett.
Congratulations. Well done.
David Hammond.
Congratulations.
Karen Holman.
Congratulations.
Gillian Kendall.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Bronia Maria Leywood.
Congratulations. Thank you. Well done.
Wendy Matthews.
Congratulations. Well done.
Julie Pendry.
Congratulations. Well done.
Nigel Perry.
Congratulations.
Anna Polion.
Congratulations.
William Poulton.
Congratulations.
Claudette Radway.
Congratulations.
Andrew Stanton.
Congratulations.
Yvonne Wright.
Congratulations.
For the Arts Foundation degree in Educational Studies for Teaching Assistants, Susan Barnes.
Congratulations. Well done.
Pamela Crowdell.
Congratulations.
Kerry
well done.
Hadley.
Congratulations. Well done.
Patricia McGroherty.
Congratulations. Well done.
Sadie Powell.
Congratulations. Well done.
Nazim Rahman.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mandy Walker.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
The recipients of the award of University Teaching Fellow for 2004-2005 will be presented by the Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Learning and Teaching, Professor Fothergill.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you academic colleagues who have been nominated on the recommendation of the Learning and Teaching Committee for the award of a University Teaching Fellowship for 2004-2005. In recognition of the sustained contribution he has made through his teaching and organisational skills to the development of a successful portfolio of distance learning programmes, Mr Patrick Bourne, Centre for the Labour Market Studies.
Congratulations, very well done. I'm really very pleased.
In recognition of her innovative and committed approach to teaching of industrial microbiology, shaped by her own research, Dr. Primrose Freestone, Department of Infection, Immunity and Inflammation.
Congratulations, that's very good. And very well done, because it is very important to the university. Well done.
In recognition of his outstanding contribution to the development of new and alternative teaching methods and approaches, Professor Mike Sutcliffe, Departments of Biochemistry and Chemistry.
Congratulations, Mark. It's really very good. I'm very pleased. Well done. Thank you.
Let me begin by congratulating our honorary graduates, saying how pleased we are they found time to join us for this ceremony, giving the younger ones amongst you an indication of the exciting things you might aspire to in later life. All the rest of you have had to earn your degrees the quick way, just by working hard and passing exams. I congratulate you all, and also those behind the scenes, parents, teachers and friends who helped you to get to this stage. It is a little over 50 years since I myself graduated, and half a century is a substantial slice of history. Much has happened in that time, in politics, economics, science and technology. Old empires faded away, the Cold War emerged with its threatening arms race, eventually ending with the collapse of the Berlin Wall. New technology changed our lives: television, computers, the internet, DNA, the human genome. What will happen in the next 50 years, in your lifetime? There are three kinds of answer one can give to this question. One, we do not know. Two, you will find out. Three, it depends on you. The future is only partly predetermined. Much will depend on your generation. And you all have a responsibility for yourselves, your family, your society, and for mankind as a whole. Having started down this historical route, let me take you back a little further, to England in the 17th century, the age of Isaac Newton and the dawn of modern science. In 1698, Peter the Great, Tsar of Russia, spent several months in England studying shipbuilding and navigation, tutored by Edmund Halley, the astronomer who predicted the famous comet that bears his name. Peter the Great also took back with him to Russia many mathematicians, engineers, doctors, and naval officers as part of his grand design of modernizing Russia. Incidentally, it is said that he went round the docks disguised as a common sailor, but since he was a giant of a man, fully 2 meters tall, the disguise was a thin one. Why am I recounting this piece of ancient history? Because, despite all the differences, it is still relevant for our time. Now it is not Russia, but China that is in a hurry to modernize itself. It is doubtful if sending the Chinese leader to London for several months in the dockyards would now be the right solution. Instead, China has sensibly sent over its students. At the latest count, there were 35,000 students at British universities from mainland China, and the figures are expected to rise rapidly. While I have singled out China as the most dramatic example, this is, of course, part of a much bigger picture. Students from India, East Asia, and other parts of the world have been coming here in ever-increasing numbers. They come for a variety of purposes: but they will return to modernise their countries. And it is not only governments that send or finance these students. Many have come with their own resources, supported by their families who appreciate the advantages of higher education. As you may know, and as the Vice-Chancellor usually emphasises, Leicester has been at the forefront of the provision of education for foreign students. Moreover, modern communications, not available in the time of Peter the Great, mean that the university can now go to the student rather than the other way round. Just think what Peter the Great would have achieved if he had email. So how does this little historical digression help us peer into the next 50 years? First of all, we see the impending rise of China and India with their vast populations and their dramatic economic growth. I've been to both countries frequently in the past few years and can assure you the figures do not lie. Nearer home and with less fanfare, the steady enlargement of the European Union is certainly a historic event whose real significance is underplayed in this country. Turning from politics and economics to science and technology, we were all expecting great things from the application of molecular biology to medicine. You may all live much longer, perhaps long enough to come back to Leicester for a further degree in, say, 2050. Other changes will come from scientific discoveries that are not yet on the horizon. Science may surpass science fiction. Unfortunately, the future is not all rosy. Climate change threatens us all, and is, in the words of Sir David King, the government's chief scientific advisor, a greater danger than terrorism. You, the younger generation, have to persuade your political leaders of the truth of this statement. There are also serious local problems with global implications. Many of them, I regret to say, residues of the British Empire. I once listed 4 of these in historical order: Ireland, South Africa, Palestine, Kashmir. Of these seemingly intractable problems, there has been progress on 3, leaving only that of Palestine and its infamous war. I hope that your generation will see a just and peaceful resolution of all of them. Finally, as we look from the 20th to the 21st century, we should recognise the remarkable way in which the English language has become an almost universal medium of discourse. Science and business, at an international level, are increasingly conducted in English, a fact which, of course, makes a university degree from this country particularly valuable. It seems unlikely that this will change, though, as a precaution, you might like to brush up on your Mandarin. I hope I have not scared you off the next 50 years. Whatever happens, your Leicester education should stand you in good stead. You will have acquired skills, you will have learned to think clearly and argue rationally, you will have had contact with students from other cultures and other backgrounds. You will need to be adaptable, and you may well spend time working and living in foreign countries. The modern world has no borders. I wish you all every success. I now declare this congregation closed.
you.